Our last panelist, it's slowly reduced to just the two of us, is Daniel Kehlmann. Daniel's, who I'm sure is very well known to everyone in the audience. Daniel's the author of a number of novels, but he's going to talk to us today specifically about his novel Fame, which was translated by Carol Brown Janeway, previous winner of the Ulfers Prize, and who was also his editor for the novel as well. And I think we're going to talk about the chapter, A Contribution to the Debate, which poses its own translation challenges.
Yeah, I mean, it's hello. It's great to be here. It's also kind of sad that the chair. I mean, not kind of. It's very, very sad actually that the chair next to me is empty because Carol, who was a very, very close friend and a wonderful translator, and also happened to be my publisher over here because she was an editor and at Knopf for many, many years. She was a vice president of Knopf. She was in charge of the foreign rights there. So my publisher and editor and translator were the same person and a very, very close friend. And she died last year. Unexpectedly in the summer, so I'm grateful for the opportunity to talk about her. It's also very sad that I have to talk about her in the past tense. It was very sudden, very unexpected. To all the people who knew her and to whom she was close, she seemed to be somebody whom you could not imagine who could be gone very soon. And she was so full of energy and full of intellectual life. She was 71 when she died, but she seemed like she had many, many, many years before her, but that didn't happen. So the reason why I mean, we can talk about my and Carol's collaboration in general. The reason why I chose this particular story to start talking about her was it seemed like the right choice to talk about how important Carol was for my voice in English as a writer, because this was the most untranslatable thing I ever wrote. The whole story, it's a book. It wasn't my last novel translated into English. It was the book before that, and the book is a collection of short stories that form the arc of a novel. So they're kind of when you read the book, they move closer together than most interlinking stories would. And so I thought I could have the right to call it a novel. And one of the stories is an internet posting, a very long internet posting by a disturbed person, and the joke in German. The stylistic joke of that chapter is that he's trying to use a lot of English expressions, but he always gets them wrong. I mean, there is actually no way to really translate that. I mean, how would you do that? You can, of course, make him speak wrong in English, but it's completely different. It's a different thing. So, so when Carol saw that manuscript, she said, "There's no way to translate that." And of course, I mean, the logically right answer would have been to say, "I know." But you don't want to say that to your American publisher. You really don't want to say that. So what I did say was, you can do it. I'm sure there is a way you can do it, and I believed that she could do it. So, but the only way to do that for her was to basically reinvent the story, reinvent the voice of that story, reinvent the style of that story, and also come up with a lot of her own jokes, because a lot of mine just couldn't be rendered in English. So what I did was I prepared for her the most depressing document I've ever written, which is the German version. The German version of the text, and every single joke or punchline. I mean, punchline is too heavy a word, but every single little joke explained in plain words. Just because, I mean, there's no way an English native speaker, even of the highest skill, could detect all these things where the guy tries to sound English but gets it wrong. So I just had to explain it all. Just what phrase is he going for? Why does it not work? What's wrong here? And then I said to her, just do whatever you want. And she said, I mean, people posting on the internet, it wasn't something she did. And she said she was also generationally far removed from that. But the point was also that my model for the style of that was not some kind of original internet posting lingo, if that even, I don't even think that exists. It was Clockwork Orange. It was Anthony Burgess's voice in Clockwork Orange. So I said to her, don't look at online discussion forums. Look at Clockwork Orange. And so she came up with a story that's really, to a very high extent, her story as much as mine. And so I thought the right way to pay homage to her would be to read just a page from that. It's from the first page of the novel, not the first of the story, not the first paragraph, but pretty soon he describes his working conditions. I work in the headquarters of a cell phone company and share an office with Lobenmeier, whom I hate the way nobody's ever hated anybody. You can eat lunch on that. I wish him dead, and if there's worse than that, then I wish him that too. Logical-wise, he's the boss golden boy, day on day punctual, yes, hardworking. And for as long as he's at his desk, he does his work stuff and only stops to look at me and say something like, hey, back on the internet again? Sometimes he jumps up, comes round my desk and wants to eyeball my screen, but I'm quicker and click off in time. Just the once I had to go to the water closer in a hurry, and I left a couple windows open by accident, and when back he was sitting on my chair with a huge smiley face. I swear to you, if he wasn't a fitness freak, he'd have swallowed his teeth right there. Our boss, seriously awful too. Totally unchill and majorly bad, none of your small stuff. I think he trusts me, but you can't tell with him. He's always thinking us through and hatching plans nobody can overview. Power plays totally above my head. For me, it's about the universal thing and society and all the daily pig stuff, you know. Obvious that people who write for newspapers already bought and people they write about in it with them. A huge conspiracy, everyone in bed together, coining money like mad. Us okay people just waiting. Just one example, radio messages on 9/11. Read it online. Nothing will surprise you again. Back to topic. All began last Friday. Was about to post on movie forum of the evening news but about Rolf Tanner and the slap. Bug Club 4 said nothing going on anymore with him and Carla Mirelli, while ICULOP thought still something to be saved. I was one who knew more again, had read something on another website, but when I wanted to go public, noticed I couldn't post anymore. Wouldn't work. Whole load of error messages each time. And because it stank, I just called up. Okay, clear already. Didn't think I know. But evening before, to top everything, banged heads with mother again. You can cook for yourself, you can wash your own stuff, like that plus more, finally me back. So live alone, pay your own rent. And her never wanted to move here. And you'd really rather be with some tramp. All right.
I can only imagine that Carol had to say to the copy editor,
oh yes,
do not fix this.
Oh yes.
Do not change this.
Yeah, that was kind of a nightmare with the copy editor, that's true. I mean, I'm sure it was also a nightmare for the copy editor to decide what was actually supposed to be wrong and what was wrong. So, but I wasn't part of that discussion, thank God. But I knew that there was there were a lot of emails going between Carol and her assistant and the copy editor. A lot.
Yeah, well, I wondered if you could talk to us just a little bit about how you and Carol worked together. Did she, do the whole translation and then send it to you, or did you talk as it was going? Or
She was very unusual in the fact that she really, for her, translating was not her job. It was recreational. It was something she did in her holidays. She had a house in upstate New York. And after the death of her husband in the 90s, I think her early 90s, she decided that she needed to do something in the long summer vacations, and she decided to translate a book every year in the summer. So and she for example she translated Bernhard Schlink's The Reader, or she translated Chandor Marai's Embers, and a few other wonderful books. And and when Measuring the World, before it was published, actually, my first novel, then later to be translated into English, when the publisher sent it to her, my German publisher, Alexander Fest from Rowohlt, she decided that she liked it, she bought it, and she also decided to translate it herself if, and that was what she wrote to me right away, if I would be available to work with her on the translation. She only translated living writers, with one exception of Marai, and writers who had some command of the English language and who would then be able to work with her on the translation. And I love the idea of doing that. And she always wrote a complete draft in longhand in August in her house, and then when she came back to the office, she had it typed and sent it to me, and then we met for a few days to work on it, and that was always wonderful, and I learned a lot about the English language by working with her. And we became very close friends. So we saw each other a lot. She also stayed with us when she was in Berlin. She came for the movie premiere of the Measuring the World movie, which was sitting next to me, which was kind of an interesting experience because she really hated the movie. And those of you who met her will know that hiding her disgust was not something she was very good at, but she tried her best. And she really was. I mean, it's kind of an American phrase to say about people they are like family, and often you just mean you like them. But she really was like family, and it was and still is a huge loss and a black hole in my life.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything to say after that. That's really touching, and I'm sorry she can't be here today. So I think we're going to move on to the Q&A.